People First podcast is a show presented by people with learning disabilities for our friends and community. We talk about issues that are important to us and interview interesting guests to find out new information. This is our way to make a difference.
Hello and welcome to the People First podcast. Today we are speaking to Gill, who works with the Leeds Industrial Museum. We are doing this interview on location at the museum, which we have been looking at today. Thanks for talking to us, Gill.
Thank you for coming. It's been a pleasure.
Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, hello. My name's Gill Crawshaw. I live in Leeds, and I've been organising an exhibition that's here at Leeds Industrial Museum. That exhibition's called Any Work That Wanted Doing, because in recent years I've been organising exhibitions that are around disabled people's lives.
How did you come to the work with People First and Craven?
Yeah, actually, people first contacted me. I think Katrina and I were maybe following each other on Instagram, and somebody had seen some information about the exhibition. So, she got in touch, and I said, come, let's do a tour. Let's talk about the exhibition together. That's what we've been doing this morning.
Can you tell us a bit more about your research?
Yeah, so the exhibition's based on some research that I've been doing. I've been trying to find out more about disabled people who worked in textile mills in the past. That's been quite hard because we don't hear much about disabled people in the past, really. I've been finding out some stories about individual people and then been thinking about how people maybe became disabled when they were working in textile mills.
How long have you been creating for the Leeds Industrial Museum? Well, I've been curating just for a few years, but this is the first time I've worked with Leeds Industrial Museum. So this exhibition is a partnership between me, because I work freelance, so between me and the Industrial Museum. And I should say it's part of Leeds 2023, that's a year-long festival of arts and culture in Leeds. I've only really been working with the museum this last few months, really, although I've known people who work here for a while. And they've been fantastic, I must say, really helpful and supportive.
Can you explain the current exhibition for us, please?
I can explain the exhibition. It's called Any Work That Wanted Doing. And so I've just talked about my research. I told you a bit about that. So this is disabled artists who've made some new artworks that are responding to that research. They're thinking about the things that have come up from that research, and they're thinking about disabled people's lives in the past, but they're also thinking about disabled people's lives today. The title of the exhibition, it's Any Work That Wanted Doing. It comes from somebody giving evidence way back in 1833 about how working in a textile mill had made him become disabled, and he's saying that he had to do any work that the mill owners wanted him, told him to do. So that's where the title comes from. So it's a disabled person of the past who said that. But the artists here, there's 8 new artworks, and they're all placed amongst the museum's collections. So they're next to textile machinery, or the hanging in the windows of the museum. And I should say that the museum used to be an old textile mill. It was a woolen mill way back in the past. So it's really good to be able to show the artworks here in what was an old museum. And the idea that it gets people thinking and talking about disabled people's lives. And again, I think we've been doing a bit of that this morning.
How long is exhibition running for?
Well, it's great because it's running for the rest of this year and then into January next year. So it's like really good. It's been on for a few. It opened in September. So that means it's on for a few months. So that means there's plenty of time for people to come and see it. So there's still people, you can come back again. You'd be very welcome. Other people can come and see it. And it means that a lot of visitors to the museum who are coming to see other parts of the museum can get to see it as well.
How do you think exhibits like this will help people with disabilities?
Well, hopefully it will get, because it talks about disabled people in history, and we don't really hear much about disabled people in history. I mean, I think for one thing, hopefully disabled people will be, cheered up by that. We'll be able to learn about disabled people who lived in the past. So hopefully that will be good. That will make people feel more confident. So there's that aspect to it as well. Another thing is it's here now in the museum, and as we've said, it's bringing people in and making people think about disabled people. And that doesn't happen that much, really. I think disabled people tend to get ignored a bit. So I think it's good that we've got something as well that's part of this year-long festival in Leeds where it's focused on disabled people. So I think that's quite important. And I should say as well, of course, these are disabled artists. I'm a disabled person. This is something that's been organised and put together by disabled people. And disabled artists are using their own voice to give these interesting and multi-layered messages through their art.
Why is it so important the voices of disabled people are heard in art?
Yeah, because art can be really useful in communicating ideas to people, and it can be really useful to sort of ask questions and get people thinking. So I think it's really important that we've got art that's made by disabled people, so disabled artists' voices are coming through, but also about disabled people. As I say, it's just a really effective and interesting way to get messages out.
I'm a 9, Kenny.
What are your plans for the future?
It's a good question. I don't know, really. I don't know. This has been quite a big project, so I'm thinking next year I might have a little bit of a rest. Although it would be really lovely to show this exhibition in different places, maybe around West Yorkshire. So I'll be thinking about whether we can do that over the next couple of years, maybe, whether there's other places, maybe in Keighley, or maybe in Bradford, or somewhere else in West Yorkshire that we can put the exhibition on.
What is your favourite part of being a curator?
Well, yeah, a curator, I mean, it's an interesting job because it can take in lots of different things. You do lots of different jobs if you're a curator, and there's lots of different ways to be a curator. So it's a curator in the museum would be somebody who looks after the various objects or paintings or whatever in the museum. I don't do that. I'm not based in the museum. So I organise exhibitions and other events, actually, that are around disability issues. So my favourite part is, I think, working with disabled artists would be my favourite part, and discovering new artists and getting to know new artists and seeing the fantastic work that disabled artists make.
That's all we have time for today. It's time for us to head back to Keighley. Thank again for your time, Gill. We have joined the museum and asking you questions. Do you have anything else you would like to add before we finish the show?
Oh, I'm going to say thank you for coming, and thank you for being, so interested in this exhibition, and for all your really, really interesting and insightful comments that you've made about the exhibition. That's been really, really good to hear. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet you here, and hopefully we'll see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Remember to like, to share and follow the show on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. You can find us searching for People First Broadcast. Thanks for listening.